Hey guys, back again. This time to talk about Marvel's newest TV show, Iron Fist, which out of all the Marvel TV shows that are in the Marvel Cinematic Universe thus far, including Agent Carter and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., this is definitely my least favorite out of all of them, and it really is such a shame because Marvel really, with the movies and with the TV shows in this universe, have until this point, I thought did a great job in terms of having such fun movies and such intricate, detailed character TV shows with Jessica Jones and Daredevil and Luke Cage and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Agent Carter. I thought that they did great with these shows and these movies. But Iron Fist is the first one where I really do not feel love for this show, and I don't hate it at all. I think that I'm just really mixed on this show because they put such a high bar in terms of the TV shows, especially because the movies are great, the movies are fun, but the TV shows, I think Daredevil, Jessica Jones, and Luke Cage were so well written and so interesting, and such great shows with these great characters and great villains and heroes. But then we get Iron Fist, which I'll go with my negatives first because I think that the negatives are like I feel like both the negatives and the positives don't overtake each other. I feel both the way for the negatives and the positives, so I don't feel that's why I feel mixed on the whole show. But the negatives I think are more this show didn't feel like it flowed very well for me. I felt like the characters and the story didn't know what it wanted to be, and I thought the writing, especially compared to the other three that just came out on Netflix, it really felt so different, and it didn't feel like it was well written and well intricate as much as the other ones. It felt like the other characters had great dynamics and great reasonings for all these things happening. But if it was just, I can't tell if it was just me or not understanding how they wrote these characters and what is going on with some of these characters. Like, for instance, Howard, where Howard, the way that he acted at the beginning was bad guy, like complete bad guy. Even though he wasn't or was, I didn't understand. I didn't get, like, I mean, I get that that he was part of the Hand, but I didn't get completely his whole overarching reasoning for this happening, and I didn't feel that way towards Ward either. And I didn't understand why they were doing anything. I didn't get it. And I feel like if I maybe watched the show again, maybe I might understand it more. But I really felt like by the end of the show, I knew nothing about these two characters. And I thought the acting was great. The acting was in the Iron Fist show was really good, like the other Marvel shows. But the writing I thought was so weird and so strange. Just how these characters flop back and forth from how they act in one episode to the other episode, and it felt like you couldn't tell if they were real villains or real not villains. And the way that they moved along with the show just felt really haphazard and weird. But I think that's my biggest problem is just it felt like the show was going on a lot of different routes. Kind of like Daredevil Season 2, but Daredevil Season 2 I thought did great with that because it spent its time more well, I think, with Elektra and the Punisher and Matt Murdock and how they were all interconnected. But in this one, Howard and Ward are kind of separate from what is happening to Danny and happening to everybody else. And Joy's kind of in the middle where she's trying to figure out what's going on with Ward, but she also at the beginning doesn't have any clue about Howard being alive. Which, why did he tell her, Ward and not her? I didn't. If I just missed it, I don't know why they didn't say why she didn't know about any of this. But I mean, I know he joined the Hand. That's why he came back after he was killed by Ward. But I didn't understand why she didn't know completely. And I just, if they said it, I missed it. But I really don't understand. And like I said, I just thought the writing was out there in a weird way. Like, according to the other ones, it didn't feel like it was great writing. And like I said, the villains just were interesting in which I didn't understand how they were really villains and how they were really anti-villains in instances in the show. And it just felt anticlimactic whenever Danny Rand killed Howard at the end. But I just thought that it didn't grip me, and it didn't the way it was written was just so interesting in a weird way where it didn't feel like it worked very well. But the writing, I think, is one of the biggest things for me, and I just think how the characters were not fully explored in a way that to me felt like it did in the other three Netflix shows. But yeah, just the characters weren't as great, with a couple exceptions. But I thought Howard and Ward weren't that interesting, and they were just weird how they kept flopping back and forth. And but the acting was great. The two actors were fine. David Wenham and the guy who plays Ward, I don't know his name, but they did good. And then the only other negatives, I guess, is like I said, it just kind of follows different routes that didn't feel like they bridged together really, and that's really stinks. But overall, that's my negative. Just is that it was written weird and it was kind of all over the place. But my positives, though, I really did like Colleen Wing and Joy. I thought that those two characters were great additions, and I thought that having characters return like Madame Gao and Hogarth, I thought were great too, because they were interesting in this show, even though they were in the other ones, and they kept that them being interesting throughout this show. And whenever they appeared, I was so excited. Like, good, we get to see them again, and they were really entertaining and really fun. Like Hogarth, I thought was great. I love how Carrie-Anne Moss plays this character as this bitchy character, but she's. It's funny how much she acts towards people, but I just think that her personality is great, just the way she treats people, and I think that it was interesting how she was brought in because it makes sense that she worked for the Rand Industries, and I thought that was cool seeing her make an appearance in this, like she did at the end of Daredevil season 2. But I thought that it was just cool seeing her again, and Madame Gao I thought was great seeing her again because she's the actress who plays her is really intimidating. I think I love how they portray Madame Gao, and I've read the comics, but how Madame Gao is portrayed in this is pretty like she's happy and smilish, but she's a demented woman who will have you murdered if you look at her wrong. And I thought that the way that actress played this happy character and the way she acted like she had nothing to fear ever, I thought that was so great. Even though she kind of did whenever she met Colleen's mentor, who kind of turns his back on everybody else, just like Ward and Howard do. So it's with the writing of the villains. I don't understand why they do all these things, but Gao was great. I thought it was great seeing her back again, and I'm gonna go to another negative, and it's it's kind of in between negative and positive. But I didn't think Danny Rand was that interesting. I don't think it was Finn Jones. I don't think it was his fault. I just thought that the other three Netflix characters, Daredevil, Jessica Jones, and Luke Cage, I thought I could remember more about them than Danny, besides the fact that Danny is to become the Iron Fist. But I felt like that was it. Like there was nothing else that he had to his character. There was nothing else more interesting. Like with Daredevil, I liked seeing his affliction with being this vigilante in the night and dealing with that, and dealing with characters like the Punisher and Elektra, and dealing with how they perceive him and how he does these things to stop crimes. Well, he has to deal with people who make crimes, and I thought that was very interesting with Matt Murdock's character. And then Jessica Jones, I thought was interesting because she had this horrible past that you realize throughout the show what happened. And Luke Cage, I thought it was just interesting seeing him go through this situation with being hated by everybody and trying to rise up from it, and realizing that he was a little more than just a generic guy. And I thought that Danny Rand, out of all of them, was just not that interesting. I thought that there was nothing really besides the fact that he liked Colleen and he would want to destroy the Hand, and that's it. There's nothing to me that was as interesting as the other three characters in the other Netflix shows. So I feel bad to say that, and I really wanted this show to wow me and to make me so surprised, but in the end, it really just, for me, is okay. Like, I thought Colleen and Joy were, to me, the best additions. I thought that they were great, and the acting was great all around, but I thought that the characters Joy and Colleen were really fun and really interesting, and I liked their troubles, like Colleen's troubles going from realizing that where she was training at was not the right place to be, and that she's with the bad guys with the Hand, realizing that. And then Joy, I liked, even though I didn't understand why Howard didn't tell her, I liked how she had to deal with that, and the ending whenever she talks to I think Colleen's old mentor about the Hand, and I thought that that was a great ending for her because I'm kind of scared to see where she goes now in this universe. So I thought Joey and Colleen to me were the standout best characters, the new characters. But the characters, Hogarth and Madame Gao, back again, were great. I thought that they were really, really interesting to see those characters back, and they make such an impact like they did in the other ones. And like I said, Hogarth was just a fun, interesting character, and then Gao was such a scary character, and I love how they keep that throughout these shows, because Gao's been in Daredevil, and then Hogarth was in Jessica Jones and Daredevil Season 2 for a second, but I thought that they were fun bringing them back and bringing them into this role, and they actually elevated it a little more for me, but overall, like I said, those are great characters in Iron Fist for me, but Danny Rand I didn't think was, and I didn't think that the villains were great, and I didn't understand their plight and why they did a lot of the stuff. And maybe if I rewatch it again, I would completely understand, but it's kind of bad if I don't understand the first time like I did the other ones, because I paid attention to these, but I just felt like I still didn't get it. I still didn't get why these characters, these villains, were doing what they were doing, in a way, but like I said, it was just, overall, I think it's okay. It's not, it's definitely to me the worst out of all the Marvel TV shows. Even probably the movies, honestly. Because the movies, I love them all except for Thor 2. But I feel like, I don't know, I'd rank those two close because they have some good things, they have some bad things. So overall, just, I'm mixed on it. I just think it's okay at best. But the writing drags it down, but they've got a couple great new character additions. And the story just was kind of all over the place. But for me, it wasn't like a horrible time. I didn't hate the show. It took me a while to watch it because I didn't understand what was going on. But like I said, there's some great new additions, but just, it drags it down with the plot and being all over the place. And like I said, the Daredevil Season 2 did that, but I thought they did it way better with those characters. But this one just, in the end, is alright. It doesn't, not a horrible time, but not a great time. Definitely the worst out of the Marvel TV shows. But tell me what you guys think down below. I don't know, maybe people might think this is one of the better ones, but to me this is my least favorite, definitely. But tell me what you think down below, and thanks guys so much for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.